Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to Divine Allegiance, a show where knowledge meets reality. And I'm your host, Maulana Baig. And I'm glad to have you all on this show. Today, I want to make an interesting point that I think is very interesting in the times that we are living in right now and what we are going through in these times of being isolated and quarantined in our homes. And first of all, I really like to pray that all of you are doing well and that you are in high spirits and making use of the opportunity that Allah has given you. I just want to make a point here that I really thought was interesting in the times that we're living in. And why is it that this time right now we are going through is an opportunity? And why is it that we're able to use this opportunity and to gain so much out of it? There's this saying that Imam Ali alayhi salam has in Nahjul Balagha that I found very interesting. It says, إِذَا أَقْبَلَتِ الدُّنْيَا عَلَى أَحَدٍ أَعَارَتْهُ مَحَاسِنَ غَيْرِهِ وَإِذَا أَدْبَرَتْ أَنْهُ سَلَبَتْهُ مَحَاسِنَ نَفْسِهِ. It translates as that when this world favors someone, it lends him attributes that don't belong to him. It lends him attributes and makes him such and gives him accolades that he doesn't deserve. And when the world turns against that someone, that person, then it takes away even the accolades and the attributes that belong to him. It takes it away from him. It strips him of all the medals and of all the honor that he has won and he deserves through his own merit. This truly is interesting, that if dunya turns against you, it just takes away everything, even something that belongs to you. And when it favors you, it makes you, even praises you in praise and in accolades that don't belong to you. Some people live their own life in other people's home. And some people live the lives of other people in their own home. Living the life of other people is condemned by God's religion. Allah wanted you to have your own life, meaning your own qualities. Be proud of what you have earned. You should be proud of who you are and what you are, not what you're not and what you loan or get a loan from someone else. You should be proud of the money that you have, not a loan that you have. When something that you have and that you own and that you merited, when you have that, it's a source of pride, and having pride in that is a good thing. But when it's not yours, when you're living in someone else's house, when you borrow things from others, and when you take things on loan, there's nothing to be proud of that. And when someone prides himself or praises himself for things that don't belong to him, it's rightfully condemned by God. And this is how you look at people who live their lives nowadays, by following the fashions of others, the trends of others, the fads, and try to emulate them. and make them theirs. We have hadith also that says that someone who pretends to be of another people or of another nation, of another religion, and he wears the clothes that they do and tries to pretend and follow the fashions that they have, that he belongs to them. He doesn't belong to yourself. You should be yourself, and that is something that a person should get back to, and knowing this. If a person is following others, it means that he doesn't have his own personality. He doesn't let his personality flourish. And this is why, because he is copying others. He's so busy copying and pasting that he never has a chance to let his own art and his own self flourish and to make himself great. If a person wants to become great, he needs to first find himself and let himself grow first. When other people become your role model, then you end up having two imams. That's right, two imams. One imam that you say who's your imam that you believe in, and one imam that you follow. For example, you say that your imam is Imam Ali, but you follow someone else when it comes to everything else in life. So in that case, Imam Ali is not really your imam. The actual imam who would be regarded as your imam is the one that you follow. If Imam Ali is your imam, then your lifestyle, your personality, your attitude, your outlook, your thinking would resemble him. You would try to be like him, to emulate him, to follow him. What he did, you would look at that and use that as a footprint to walk in your own life. This is common sense. This is something that you would do. But if you follow someone else, it means that you have someone else that is your imam, and Imam Ali is imam only in words, not in practice. If we follow Imam Ali, then yes, our practice, our lifestyle, behavior, etiquette, manners, attitude should be resembling Imam Ali. So when we look at this hadith and when we look at this saying of Imam Ali, there are two words that he used that's important. He says that when the world favors you and when the world turns away from you. The word for favoring is called iqbal, and the word for turning away is called idbar. These are two terms in Islamic etiquette and ideology. And Imam uses this. When you look in Revelation and when you look in the words of Ahlul Bayt, you will see these two words and these two terms used in opposite of each other. Iqbal means to face someone, to meet someone. When you are face to face with someone and when you meet someone, it means Iqbal. And idbar means to turn away from someone that or something. When you don't want to meet someone and you turn away from him, it's called idbar. And when we look at ourselves and our nafs, we will see that we have these two states in ourselves. Sometimes our nafs and we are in the state of iqbal. Iqbal means that we are ready to face things. We are welcoming. We are in a state that we welcome things. And idbar, on the other hand, is a state of our nafs, of ourself, where we are in the mood of rejecting things, repelling things, not wanting. These are two states that we have. Sometimes you see that it's easy for you to accept things. You are in that mode, you're in that zone where you can accept anything. You're easy to accept it. You're easy to digest. You have an easy time in trying to listen to others in the view of others. And sometimes you're in the state of idbar, which means that you're rejecting even things that you would accept. You're not in the mood to listen to anyone. You are not in the mood of accepting anything from anyone. It is a state that you have. And there is no consistency in either way. Sometimes you see we are in the state of iqbal, sometimes we're in the state of idbar. These are two states that we find ourselves in. So now when you see that when you're in the state of iqbal, so here Islam and Allah will make you do your wajib and also mustahab things. It says that when you're in that state of iqbal, when you're accepting things, then that's the time when you should, for example, try to not just do your wajib, your obligations, but also recommended things. Also things that are not wajib. Push yourself towards that because it would be easy to get to those things. Like, for example, the night prayer. Like, for example, fasting other than Ramadan. You will see that if you're in that state, you will be able to accept that. You will be able to do that without any problem. But then when your nafs and yourself comes into the state of idbar, then it is rejecting things. It's difficult for you to accept things. So in that case, Islam advises, and the teachers of akhlaq have advised us, that you should just stick with wajibat. Stick with the basics. Don't try to push yourself to do things that are not wajib, because your nafs is not ready for it. You would be repelled from it. This is called the state of idbar. And hence you find this in children also. For parents out there who are raising your children up, you will find that in them also, that you will see that sometimes they're in the state of iqbal, that they are accepting, they are in the mode of acceptance, that zone where they are easily receptive of things. So in that case, that's the time for you to teach them, to educate them, to push them, to make them do things. So, and they will accept it from you, and they will take it and they will go with it. But when they are in the state of idbar, you should see that they're not in the mood right now. So this is not the time for you to teach them a lesson or to push them into doing things. This is not the time for you to do that because they're not in the mood for it. They're not really accepting things right now. So it's better for you to leave them alone and wait until their state changes into iqbal, and then you give them and teach them and educate them. A lot of times what happens is that when we try to push things while children and others are in the state of idbar, it ends up becoming argumentative, they become defensive, they get repelled from the message that you're trying to give, and they go away. They're in a state of denial, they're in a state of rejection. So this is why you want to wait until you're in the state of iqbal to actually approach a person, whether it is someone else or it is your own children that you want to educate and teach. This is a lesson that will help you when you are trying to educate your kids or trying to train them or trying to teach them something. Now, a person who's in the state of idbar, meaning in the state of rejection, when you try to tell him something or educate him or give him guidance, you will see that what comes out of it is just argument and it's just stubbornness. People who are trying to defend themselves and repel what you're saying. And when they're in the state of iqbal, you'll see that it's easily acceptable to them. They will acknowledge it and they will try to practice it. They will be in that zone where they can do something or they can learn something. This and some things have effect on these things. For example, how do you bring about the state of idbar, rejection? Well, for example, if a person overeats, if he eats too much, eating too much and overeating, gluttony, brings about a state of idbar, a state of rejection. Or, for example, oversleeping and resting and relaxing too much comfort brings about a state of idbar. These are certain factors that you want to stay away from. That's why it is said that a person goes away from Islam when he eats too much, laughs too much, or he sleeps too much. It's because he enters into a state of idbar, a state where he is rejecting things. He is not receptive of guidance and knowledge. So you want to come into a state of iqbal, then, for example, fasting is a good thing. Charity is a good thing. So anytime you do something useful and like that, you see enter into a state of iqbal. Now these states, usually when you see that, it comes about by certain situations and certain places also. I've seen, for example, when people leave their normal routine life and come into a holy place, a sacred place, then it is one of the ways or factors that brings about a state of iqbal, a state of acceptance and being receptive. That's why a ziyarat is very useful for many people in coming into a state of iqbal, a state of receptive mode where you can receive knowledge, you can receive guidance, you can receive teachings. And hence, those who go for ziyarat have a better chance of learning and finding guidance because they are in a sacred place, they are in that zone where they are receptive. It's a good thing to do that. Sometimes in life also, we see that this state comes about through difficulties. For example, when you go through a difficult time in your life, when you go through a hard time in your life, you will see that you enter a state of iqbal, where you are receptive of knowledge, receptive of guidance, receptive of wisdom. And especially this situation comes about in the state of disasters. When disaster happens, when calamities happen, like the calamity that we are going through now, where everyone is quarantined and isolated and everyone's in a state of fear, you see that we all collectively have entered a state of iqbal, a receptive stage where we are able to receive things and accept things. And this is the point I wanted to make. Truly, at this time, when we look at ourselves in the difficulties that we are going through and the opportunity that we find ourselves in, where everyone is facing the threat of a deadly disease and are quarantined in their home and are in a state of fear of catching it or being exposed to it, and listening to the news, which then builds up your fear and doubles it and triples it, because that's all you hear all day long. And then the fear of the future as to what will happen to your income, to your livelihood, to many other things that will be the outcome of this situation that we find ourselves in. We see that it is a difficult time, and it's in these times, if you pay attention to your own nafs, you will see that you are in a state of reception. You're ready to accept. Allah has brought you into a state where you are ready to accept knowledge, wisdom, guidance. It is a beautiful state to be in. It is an amazing state if a person can only see what he's going through right now. If you can see the beauty of the situation as it is unfolding before us, and you find yourself in, it is an amazing situation that we find ourselves in. It's a really amazing situation. And all of us should be really looking at this and saying, you know what, this is the time for us. Because right now, I am ready to say yes. I'm ready to say labbaik to anything that Allah asks me. Because truly Allah has put us in that situation. So my friends, this is what you would say forced learning, but not forced in the sense that we are forced to learn, but Allah has put us in this situation by somewhat of a force, because really it came down so fast and so abrupt that the whole world is still astonished as to what just happened. We are just trying to get used to it right now. And as we are trying to get used to it, some people are actually observing it as it happens and looking at the amazing time that we find ourselves in. Scholars, great scholars, our leaders have alluded to this, that do not let this opportunity go by. This is something amazing. And you as a people, we all as a people are now in the mode of being receptive. Receptive to knowledge, receptive to learning. It is truly something that we need to look at ourselves as. Just like we are in that state, dunya is also in that state. Dunya, when it accepts you, Imam Ali says that, you know what, you have the accolades of other people and you get praised by everyone else, things that you don't deserve. And when the dunya turns against you and rejects you, then even the things that you did well, dunya doesn't let you get it, and you are left out. Imam Ali, in his advice to his son, has said, Yawmun laka wa yawmun alayk. He says that one day is for you and the next day is against you. Time is also has its iqbal and idbar. Just like that, right now, we're in that state right now that we also, in this time that we're living in, and in the world that we're living in, you see, has turned in favor of us and has given us the chance and the opportunity to be there. Well, that's it for today. I mean, really, I want us all to take advantage of what we have going on and the time that we are spending together. You know, this was Divine Allegiance, and you can email your questions or comments on divineallegiance12@gmail.com. Please do so. If you want to send video questions, we'll be glad to take video questions and we'll add it to the program. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at Divine Allegiance, and you can follow us on Instagram at Divine Allegiance 12. On YouTube, you are watching our channel Divine Allegiance. Please go ahead and subscribe, and also comment and like us on this channel. You know, it will be helpful for us, and we want to do this daily and come to you every day with an important message every day, and something that we can learn from, something that we can apply to our lives as we now go forward. And we are living our life in these situations that we are in, but Allah has given us the chance to learn, and I pray that we use this opportunity and the chance that Allah has given us. Thank you for watching. May Allah bless you all, keep you safe and your family safe. I am Maulana Baig, your host. I'll see you next time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.